Hello, I'm RetroJules and welcome to World of Tanks and welcome to my garage. This is my Super Pershing T26E4 Tier 8 American medium premium tank. A very slow, heavily armoured medium tank that plays like a heavy but with a very poor gun. Now you have to part with your hard-earned cash to buy a premium tank. And you may wonder, why would you buy a slow medium tank with a poor gun and pay money for it? Well, this tank has preferential tiering. It only goes up to tier 9, and generally as a rule you're nearly always playing tier 8 games. You don't see that many tier 9 tanks, but you'll never see tier 10. It also has built-in XP multipliers and silver multipliers. So not only do you earn more silver per game, but also you earn more XP per game, and you can transfer any of your other American tank crews into this tank and use those XP boosts to further train your crews and train them quicker. So let's go into more detail about this tank. So our Super Pershing is an up-armoured M26 Pershing with a longer 90mm cannon but a weaker non-upgraded engine. So the 90mm cannon has a penetration of 170mm, which is pretty poor, pretty much the worst at that tier. It's 20 to 30mm less than the other tier 8 medium tanks. It does a damage of 240, which is normal. It has a pretty good reload of 8 seconds and an accuracy of 0.36. One of the worst tanks for accuracy at that tier, but not by much. The cannon has a dreadful dispersion on the move. You cannot shoot with this tank on the move. And with the turret traverse of 24 degrees per second, one of the worst by far, it's quite hard for tracking your targets, but it does have a decent gun depression of 10 degrees if you're shooting over crests of hills or playing this tank hull down. It has a top speed of 40 km per hour, the worst by far, with its very weak 500 brake horsepower engine. That's 200 brake horsepower less than the original M26 Pershing. If you decide that you're going to take this tank uphill, then you might want to take up knitting, because it takes a very long time to get up hills, and you do not want to take this tank on soft ground, as it almost comes to a standstill when you do. And because it's got a dreadful chassis rotation of 32 degrees per second, one of the slowest, you take this on soft ground and it becomes completely ungainly. It's got a view range of 390 meters, which is normal for any medium tank at tier 8. And what you need to bear in mind with this tank is it is 7 to 8 tons heavier than the original M26 Pershing. So when they put this big long cannon on and all this extra armour plating and with a weaker engine, it really does play and feel like a heavy tank. So that's the stats of the tank. So let's now get into the strength of this tank, which is its armour. So the tank chassis has an armour of 101mm on the upper glacis at the front, 76mm on the lower glacis at the front, a dreadful 76mm at the sides, and a 50 at the rear. You shoot this tank in the side or the rear, you're going to have no problem penetrating this tank at all. And the turret has 76mm at the sides of the rear too, so you've got no problems penetrating there. All the armour on this tank is at the front, and what you have at the front, on the front of the turret, you've got an 88mm plate, a spaced plate, with two 38mm ears either side to protect the front of the turret. If you want to punch through that turret, good luck. It is impenetrable. You need over 300 penetration to get through that front mantlet. At the front of the hull, we've already said that you've got 101mm on the upper plate and 76 on the lower, which is nothing amazing, but you have then got two spaced armour plates of 38mm each. And if you're looking at this tank head on, you're going to need over 230mm of penetration to get through the upper plate, 220mm to get through the lower plate, and that's before we've even started angling the hull of the tank. So something like an E75 at tier 9 or a Jagdtiger will easily penetrate the front of this tank. Now if you face this tank head on, depending on where you hit those front plates, depends on what penetration you need. We've already said that you need 230 to 220 for the top and the bottom, but if you aim for the very top of the upper plate, and if you're lucky and it doesn't bounce, you will penetrate. And if you aim for the very bottom edge of the lower plate, you only need 180mm to penetrate through there. And the reason for this is that the second spaced plate doesn't go all the way down to the bottom of the glacis. And just to make this perfectly clear for you, let me show you a diagram showing exactly how these spaced plates work. So here's a picture of our Super Pershing with the wheels and the tracks removed, and the figures in red are a rough guide to how much penetration at least you're going to need to penetrate through these sheets of steel. So the black line is the original hull of the Pershing. The white line is the outer 38mm plate, and the red line is the inside 38mm plate. And if you look at that red inner plate, it doesn't go all the way to the top and it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. So if you shoot above that or below that, and as you can see from the 188mm arrow, you need a lot less penetration to get through because there is less armour and less of a space between the armour. The armour on the front of the Pershing is quite complex and designed to be impenetrable, and we haven't even started discussing angles and angling your hull yet. And when you do start angling, obviously the thicknesses increase dramatically and can make the front of this tank seem impenetrable. So where do you hit this tank if it comes at you head on? Well, you can aim for the machine gun port. That is very weak, and if you hit that, you will almost certainly take out the radio man who sits back there too. You can shoot underneath the turret, underneath the ears of the armour, and you'll get penetration in there, but just be careful. If you aim too far out towards the edge, then your shots will deflect because it is quite angled. You can shoot into the very sides of the front armour plates. If you aim sort of a 45-degree angle in between the front idler wheel and the armour plating, you will go in through the sides. But the easiest place to penetrate this tank, apart from the sides and the rear, will be the commander's cupola at the top, which is quite a big target on the left as you look at the tank, and also the hydraulic dampeners or recoil springs as they're otherwise known, which you will also get penetration through. Those dampeners and springs are designed to help lift the cannon because it was too heavy for the machinery inside to lift the new extra long cannon, and it also helped to control the recoil from this big gun. You will also see on the back of the turret there are counterweights. These were also designed to help rectify the issue with elevating the long cannon. And in the game, don't shoot through these at the side. They are completely transparent and not a recognisable hittable target on the tank. So we have a heavily armoured, very slow, medium tank with a poor penetrating gun. So it's quite a tricky tank to play. You need to be careful. It is an artillery magnet because you are so slow, and if artillery get a sniff of you, they will hone in on you. This is really designed as a kind of sort of brawling tank to go up against the enemy, hold them off as they desperately try and penetrate the front of your tank while the rest of your troop come in and help pick them off. The one thing I often make the mistake of is you will end up face hugging and going up against heavies because your armour is so effective and they won't be able to penetrate you. The chances are you won't be able to penetrate them either because the penetration on your gun is so poor and you are a medium going up against heavies. So this is a tricky tank to play, but all the more interesting for it. Now, because this tank makes you so much money very, very easily, there are a couple of ways that you can play this tank. If you play it as it is and shoot for soft spots and weaknesses in other tanks and don't take them head on, then you will make an absolute load of money. But if you find that a little bit frustrating, then this tank earns enough money for you to be able to load up premium APCR rounds, and you can use those and you will still make a normal amount of money on this tank, but you will then have a penetration, an extra penetration of 110mm, giving you a total penetration of 323mm, which then makes you quite a formidable tank. I really hope I've covered this tank in enough detail for you, and I really think it's now time to roll this iron hard steel beastie out. We're on Lakeville and it's a tier 8 game and we're in our Super Pershing, and I would normally go up the number 2 line, but I'm not going to do that in this tank because the boggy ground is an absolute nightmare for this, and you've got a real job to even steer through there, and there's no artillery and it's an encounter battle and the cap is in the city, so that's the direction we're going to go in and try and get into the city and do some brawling. And a rock stops us dead in our tracks, and you can see our team are just leaving us behind because we just do not have the speed. So now I've got to get across this quite open section of map, and if I get spotted I'm side on and I could be in trouble, and that's exactly what happens. A motherland has steamed down the centre of the map, highlighted us, and the shots will start coming in. So the only thing we can do, because we've been caught in the open, is to face our armour to the enemy. And you'll see how effective our armour is in a situation like this, where tanks are shooting from a distance. So we've got the motherland in the middle spotting us, we've got a German heavy at the back putting shots in. We've just been tracked. Luckily the crew that I've got in this from another tank have got repairs, so the tracks repair themselves quite quickly, and the shots are still coming in and they're not penetrating. We really need that motherland out of action. I was hoping to get a side shot in the turret and missed. Great, he's taken out. Now we just need to get rid of that heavy. Yep, and he's taken out, and I get caught side on, so every shot's going to go in. I was hoping to get to the city, but I realise now I'm just not going to make it. So I just need to get into cover. And my plan is now that I'm going to go down the road, down the number 4 line, and hopefully get some shots through the city. We've got a KV-4 sat on the corner there, so I'm going to push the road. So we've got a motherland coming along the seafront there, or lakefront should I say, and we just get a shot in his tracks. So I'm just going to bring my front round because I'm a little bit concerned he probably realises who the shots are coming from. So get my front round. You just need to be wary of the heavy on the road now. Not sure what he is yet. And we've got the motherland with our back to us, so that's really, really great news for us. I'm not sure what our team are doing. Within one motherland's gone behind him and doesn't seem interested. There we go. We take him out, we get our first kill. But what we are getting in this game is quite a bit of... just taking some damage. We're getting quite a bit of spotting damage. So we've got a T29 and the KV4 behind us takes him out. Thank you very much. So we've got the tier 8 version of the T29, the T32, sat in the middle of the road. And he's not facing us. So hopefully we can get a shot in. I'm just trying to get a shot on his lower glacis and he angles round. We get a shot in the tracks, or through his tracks. He's aiming at us. No, he's aiming at the KV4, so we aim for his engine and we finish him off. So hopefully this game has shown you how effective the Pershing can be with its armour at a distance. We blocked an awful lot of shots in this game, and it's the only reason we're still alive. Got an M6 on the run. And we get a shot in, but somebody else takes him out. I really thought we got the kill for that, but we didn't. One tank destroyer left, and he's gone. So, overall, not a bad game.
Great job, man.
A very ordinary game, I would say, but we could have been annihilated getting caught in the open, and our armour really did save us. And we get a lovely 61,000 silver, 3,300 XP on the first win of the day. Class 3 Mastery badge. So a really good silver earning game. And badges you do see a lot in the Super Pershing are the cool-headed and steel wool, because shots do bounce off you. And we came third overall. We're on Serene Coast, and it's a tier 6 to tier 8 game, and again we're top tier, as is many the case in the Super Pershing. So I've shown you a game where we've shown off how effective the Pershing's armour can be, and this is quite an ordinary, quite good game, but this will show you how much silver the Pershing can earn you. So I'm just going to keep tight to the train tracks here. Our scouting tank, the Leopard, is just waiting for us all to catch up before he does anything. Or he's just playing bumper tanks at the moment. You need to go off and get some spotting done, please, mate. So we've got the Nashorn at the back there. He's sat up by the tracks at his end of the map. So I'm just going to stay on the camber of this. Face him. And we got a Black Print side on. Lovely. So we get a shot in there. And we're spotting and picking up assisted damage here, so we're doing what the scout tank should be doing, which isn't ideal for us because we don't want to be spotted. So the T29 takes a shot. I'm waiting to see if I can get a shot in his turret ring or his engine, and no, this isn't good. I've got a shot in the side, probably from the Nashorn.
Enemies got us in their sights.
T29's playing it hull down, so there's no point in us taking any shots at him. Right, that's the Nashorn taken out. A nice little auto aim and finish him off. He was being a bit of a pain. So now we can concentrate on the T29 and the medium. Don't know what the medium is yet, but it's taking shots at us. And we got a T32 hull down. I'm just going to stay behind this rock. I'm really not interested in just sort of sitting out there, because if you do sit out there in the Pershing, you are a fairly big target, and the enemy will find your weak spots if you keep still and just sit there. Where on Lakeville we didn't have much choice to sit there and let our armour do the work. It's not something I would do out of choice. So what is that medium? Still don't know what it is. So pushing forward a little bit, the majority of their team are out on the peninsula.
Ready to fire on target.
There's an IS. So I'm just going to come over and see if I can put a shot in.
Dropping target.
Yes, and we get a shot in the back. And he misses his shot. Just how we like it.
Ready.
So we've got the IS to our right,
Enemies looking
and we've got a medium and a heavy to our left.
locked on.
Now I'm keeping on the move because I really don't know what Artie's up to. And Artie does like super Pershings because they're so slow at manoeuvring and
Enemies got us in
getting
their
out of trouble. So we're an easy target for Artie. Right, there's the medium. It was a motherland. A nice auto aim on the side and get him out of action. So now we've got the heavy. And we're taking fire from the right. So I'm not too eager to go charging off. And oh, it's an ELC.
target locked.
So we auto aim a straight shot into him. Now, this is where our slow turret traverse could be a bit of an issue. I think he's hoping to get another engine shot
Our team just wasted.
and doesn't think we have the depression to take him out. But how wrong is he? And we take him out quite easily. However, if he kept going round and round us in circles, we wouldn't have stood a chance because the turret traverse is so slow. So we're down to a heavy, a tank destroyer, and RT. And you can see our team are surging in for them. We are sort of,
Ready to fire on target.
well, just trying to catch up really, trying to get a shot in. We don't have the accuracy to get these tiny nibbling shots in the top of people's turrets, so I'm not even going to take those shots.
Enemies looking right at us. Releasing target.
Can't get a shot on the Yag Panther. Oh, the IS, oh, well, the IS is gone. There's Artie. And yeah, we don't have the speed to do anything really. We'll keep going. But so that this game's about to finish. Somebody's going to take Artie out. It's not going to be us, unfortunately. Close though. So in that game, we spotted 4 enemies. We got 12 assisted damage, 6 penetrating shots. And we took 3 tanks out, so quite an ordinary game with a fair amount of spotting. And look at that for silver, 102,000 silver, 3,600 XP on the first win of the day. This is where the Pershing comes into its own. It can earn you an absolute shed load of money, which is most rewarding. So that's the T26E4 Super Pershing. The cheapest tier 8 premium tank. I've tried to be as detailed as I can for you, as I do believe if you're going to part with your hard-earned cash, you really need to know what the tank involves. It is a slightly frustrating, sluggish tank with a pretty dreadful gun, but you will have noticed that in the 2 games I showed you, I didn't use any premium rounds whatsoever, and you don't need to, and as a result of that, you will earn a lot of money. But the amount of shots that the armour blocks really does make you laugh sometimes, and I really do enjoy playing this tank. Apart from being a little bit frustrating, sometimes it really is quite good fun at just being a brutal, heavily armoured bully. Now, of the equipment on this tank I didn't mention this before, I carry ventilation just for all-round improvements on the tank, a gun rammer just to improve the load time, and what I think is most important is I carry a toolkit for repairing the tracks quickly, because you don't want to be a target for Artie and you don't want to be sat out there ready for Artie to take you out, because it does happen. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching.